Most people think $20,000 isn't that much money. They think it's not six figures, it's not life-changing, it's not rich, but they're wrong. Because $20,000 is a number where survival mode quietly ends, and most people don't even realize they're living in survival mode until they leave it. If I asked you right now how financially secure you feel, you'd probably answer in relative terms. I'm doing okay, I'm not broke, I pay my bills. But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking how steady your life actually is. If your car died tomorrow, is it an inconvenience or a crisis? If your job disappeared next month, are you updating LinkedIn calmly or are you sweating through interviews? There's a difference between earning money and being stable, and most people confuse the two. When I was sitting under $10,000 saved, I didn't feel reckless. I felt responsible. I was budgeting, I was investing small amounts, I was tracking everything, but I was still fragile. It's like walking on ice that looks thick, but you're not completely sure. Every step feels fine until something cracks. That's what low savings feels like. Nothing is technically wrong, but you're one unexpected expense away from stress. The strange thing is, fragility doesn't feel dramatic. It feels normal. You get used to checking your bank app more than you need to. You mentally calculate every purchase before you swipe. You avoid certain risks not because they're bad ideas, but because you can't afford volatility. You tell yourself you're being cautious, but really you're being defensive. And there's a difference between playing defensive and playing smart. Here's the math behind why $20,000 matters. Let's say your monthly expenses are around $3,000. Rent, food, utilities, insurance, gas, everything. That means $20,000 covers over 6 months of your life. 6 months is a long time. It's long enough to lose a job and find another without panic. Move cities if you need to. Fix a car, replace a laptop, cover a medical bill without going into debt. It's not wealth, but it's a runway. And a runway changes how you behave. Think about how differently you'd approach a job you hate if you had half a year of expenses sitting in your account. You'd still be professional, you'd still show up, but there's a calm underneath it. You're not trapped. You're choosing to stay. That's a completely different mental position than needing to stay. This is where people misunderstand money. They think the shift happens at $100,000 or $1 million. It doesn't. The first major shift is when you stop worrying about survival. And survival mode is subtle. It shows up as avoiding investment risk because you might need the money, staying in a bad situation because now isn't a good time, putting off opportunities because you don't have a cushion. When you cross $20,000, that background noise quiets down. Plus, investing feels different too. Before that number, every market drop feels personal. You don't just see red numbers, you see vulnerability. After $20,000, volatility becomes abstract. You still care, but you're not emotionally attached to every swing because your life isn't dependent on your brokerage account tomorrow. That mental separation is powerful. It allows you to think long-term instead of week to week. And long-term thinking is where wealth actually grows. Before we continue on with the video, I have something to ask you. If you don't already have $20,000 saved, what's holding you back? If you don't know the answer to that and want to figure it out, I recommend trying out Roy, the only financial tool that automatically adjusts with your life and gives you a flexible path to achieving your financial goals. Now, where were we? Oh yeah, let me paint you a picture. Two people make $70,000 a year. One has $3,000 saved, the other has $22,000 saved. Same income, same city, same job title. But their decisions won't look the same. One hesitates to negotiate salary because losing the job would be catastrophic. The other prepares data, makes the ask, and is willing to walk if needed. One avoids investing aggressively because they're afraid of needing liquidity. The other understands risk because they've built a foundation. From the outside, they look identical. Internally, they live in completely different realities. There's also something most people don't admit. Money affects your confidence, not in a flashy way, in a steady way. When you know you can absorb life's randomness, you stop overreacting to it. You don't spiral when something small goes wrong. You don't lose sleep over temporary setbacks. You stop feeling like you're one mistake away from collapse. That steadiness shows up everywhere, in conversations, in relationships, in how you carry yourself. It's not about ego, it's about stability. And stability creates space. Space to think, space to plan, space to say no. When your brain isn't busy protecting you from disaster, it can start building instead. That's when you begin thinking in 5-year terms instead of 5-week terms. You stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, is this a good move? That's a higher level question. Now let's be clear. $20,000 won't fix bad habits. If you overspend, you can burn through that cushion quickly. If you avoid learning how to invest, it won't magically compound itself. But if you have decent discipline, even average discipline, crossing that line amplifies it because you're building from solid ground, not from anxiety. The biggest mistake people make is upgrading their lifestyle before they upgrade their foundation. They increase rent the moment income rises. They stretch into higher expenses before they've built real stability. It looks impressive from the outside, but internally, they're still fragile. The ice is just thinner, and thinner ice doesn't care how nice your apartment looks. The irony is that once you build that $20,000 cushion, you often don't feel the urge to upgrade immediately. Because the real reward isn't consumption, it's calm. It's waking up and not worrying about what might break today. It's knowing that if something unexpected happens, you can handle it. That's not flashy, but it's powerful. And here's the part most people miss. The first time you realize you're no longer financially fragile, it won't be dramatic. It'll be quiet. Maybe your car needs repairs and you pay for it without stress. Maybe your company announces layoffs and you feel concerned, but not afraid. Maybe you start considering opportunities you wouldn't have entertained before. You'll just notice that you feel kind of steady. That's the turning point, not because your lifestyle changed, but because your baseline anxiety did. From there, growth becomes intentional. You start investing more confidently. You negotiate more strategically. You consider career shifts without panic. You're no longer reacting to life. You're positioning yourself inside it. And that shift starts at a number most people underestimate. But $20,000 is not the end goal. It's the base layer. It's the moment you move from surviving to planning, from defensive to strategic, from hoping nothing goes wrong to knowing you can handle it when it does. That's why everything changes after $20,000. Not because you're rich, but because you're no longer fragile. And once fragility is gone, you can finally build. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you, and I would also really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed because I'll be posting more content like this every day. And don't forget to try out Roy, link in the description.